Hello, everybody. This little short clip deals with, did Jesus come to fulfill the law? What does this word fulfill mean anyway? This is argued about over and over and over in every social media platform I know, and has been argued since, over 2,000 years ago. So we're going to take a quick look at it. Well, here's our chosen movie, Movie Jesus, with my cartoon captions. How could they think that the Old Testament so-called deity is my Abba, or my Father? It's like, he told us in Matthew 5:44, "But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do well to those hating you, and pray for those abusing and persecuting you." Now, you don't have to read very far in the Old Testament to see there's nothing much like this at all in the Old Testament. In fact, it gets very succinct on what Yahweh wants done in the Old Testament. It says, "I pursue my enemies and overtake them. I will not return until I have destroyed them." So this is a total different concept of how we are to treat your enemies. Not those that you care about, your family, your close family members, but your enemies. And I'm just going to show just a few little verses that show you how fast you can see a totally different concept from the Old Testament in the words of what Jesus told us. When we look at the synagogues that they say he was teaching in, were they his synagogues? Whose synagogues were they? And what happens there? John 16:2. "They shall put you out of the synagogues, yea, the time cometh that whoever killeth you will think that he is doing God's service." So they're going to be killing people, but are they doing God's service? No, they think they are, but they're not. Where are the ones killed? Their synagogues. Listen to this carefully. Matthew 23:34. "Because of this, lo, I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, and of them ye will kill and crucify, and of them ye will scourge in your synagogues, and will pursue from city to city." Your synagogues. This was not Jesus' synagogues. Where was the sickness and all the matter of diseases? Again, it's in their synagogues, not his synagogues. Listen to Matthew 4:23 carefully. "And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people." Okay, and where were the people with the devils and the demons? Again, their synagogues, not his synagogues. Mark 1:39. "And he preached in their synagogues throughout all Galilee, and cast out demons." This pronoun of their shows a possession that was not his. And it's very, very important to pay attention to every word that you're reading. We've got this made-up scenario that we've been taught over and over and over, and we don't even see the truth when we read it. The pronouns he used also indicate that he was not one of the Jews and that the law was not his. In John 8:17, "It is also written in your law that the testimony of two men is true." John 10:34, Jesus answered them, "Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods?" Luke 2:39, "And when they had performed all the things according to the law of the Lord," that's not him, "they returned to Galilee, to their own city Nazareth." Okay, John 15:25, "But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their law, they hated me without a cause. So he's delineating that it's not his law, it's their laws. I took a deep dive too at 5:17, Matthew 5:17, because it is totally messed up. And this is one of the verses that has been used over and over and over to fight about whether we're under the law of the Old Testament or not. Let's really look at it. It actually says, when you look at the mechanical, don't believe that I came down to loosen any person tied to their law or prophets. Look at that word, their law, not his. I came down not to loosen any person tied, but to pay for you. That's what it actually says. The Pleroo thing everybody says means, fulfill. Look at this. I mean, this is from Wiki, and it's the ancient Greek, and it says pay, figuratively pay, sacrifice something in exchange for a benefit. 3, pay, suffer for a past action. All three definitions are pay, pay, pay. Okay? And this is, loosen is unbind. He didn't come down to unbind people that are already tied to it. He came down to pay for them, to set them free from it. It's like, it has nothing to do with fulfilling it. And I'm going to show some more examples of this word used in a sentence, the exact same spelling, and every one of them says pay. It doesn't say fulfill. Okay, and also, when you look at this word too, if you look in the Greek Old Testament, it's used in conjunction with a ransom, which is what he said he came to do, ransom us. Leviticus 25:29, and if anyone should sell an inhabited house in a walled city, then there shall be a ransom of it until the time it is paid. Its time of ransom shall be a full year. So it's paid off at a full year. So even if you use it as fulfilled, it's paid. It's really strange that they did this on purpose. People need to stop fighting over the Old Testament laws. They are not from Father. And he always said their laws. It's like their prophets, their synagogues. It was not his. And this page I put here is just, this is an actual screenshot in case this changes on the website, which has happened to me before. After I do a video, all of a sudden everything gets changed, which is really strange, isn't it? But this is the etymology. Is to complete, to pay, literally. Okay, and it's as a verb, it says to pay, to give money or work done for goods received, to pay, is sacrifice something in exchange for benefit, to pay, to suffer for a past action. And here's some related terms. You can go look at those too, and they're the same word. It's like to pay handsomely, to pay a high price, to replace or substitute, an unpaid settlement, payment. Everything uses pay. It does not use fulfill. But somehow we got it as fulfill. And nobody pays attention to the pronouns. It's like, it's just nuts. I keep looking at this stuff and I'm going, we've never even heard the truth. Not one time. Here's another one. This is the dictionary, English and Greek. Okay, when we look at this word, it says it means paid, past tense, paid, everything is paid. Pay back, pay with. I just wanted to show these examples that I pulled offline because you can't change that much. If everywhere that you see it, it says paid, then how did it become fulfill? It's like, this is just weird. I wish I read the Greek better than I actually can. I could speak it as good as I can read it now, but I can't. But here is that same dictionary giving you example sentences of what this word means, and it's spelled the same as the one we have in the scripture. And every one of them, when you read them, that's like they come out pay, to pay, pay, to pay, pay per view, to pay, and another one here, to pay, right there. So you have to go through, and this is a dictionary of Greek, and it's telling you that. You can stop this and read each one, and you can go through and kind of look at the words if you know Greek, but I'm just showing you that even in sample sentences where this word is used, it always comes out pay. And what does this connect to? The Peirush thing connects to the lutron, and a lutron is a price for redeeming a ransom. It's a paid price. Like when we look at Mark 10:45, for even the Son of Man came not to be ministered to, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many, or a lutron, a payment, is what it's saying. So it's still connected to a ransom, because a ransom is the release of property or person in return for a payment or a demand price. The price or payment demanded paid for such a release, a redemption from the sin and its consequences. So he didn't come down here to fulfill, he came down to pay for you. And the next verse they say about the dots and the tittles and all this stuff, I don't even think that even means what they have down on that either. Because when I looked at it, it's like, it's got the word amen to begin with, and that literally back then meant the end. And if you read a mechanical, when I went through and looked at that real carefully, it says, for I say to you, in the end, until audio-visual passes away, the heaven and the earth iota in one of the antenna will not pass away from the prefect, which is the government, until the audio-visual everything comes to pass. Well, what do we have connected in every house right now? Iota. It's your computer thing that runs your computer. This is a future prophecy telling us what's going to happen now, not back then. And AV is audio-visual. It's like, in this say the law, but when you look this word up, it's actually the prefecture or the district of a government. It's like, is it a law in the Old Testament, or is he telling us about something future event? When I look at this iota, I'm like, hey, this is a future prophecy for us. Here it is. They're using the iota-based healthcare solution. It's all computerized. It all comes through your house. Sprint uses it to support the iota technology, developing a novel geometric monitoring. It's a monitoring system of us that they've put in our homes. This was a future prophecy, not something to do with the Old Testament law. Here's another sentence where they've got it all messed up too. It's like, look at Matthew 22:35. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him and saying, look at these words right here which were that aren't even there in the Greek. Which was, him a question? That's not there when you read the Greek. What it literally says then, he asked one of their legals tempting him, and they said, not he said. It's like, it's just really weird, because this is they. That W V looking thing on the end of the Greek word there, that's that is a plural ending. That is definitely they. It's like, it's just there. They left that out. They put it as of them. It's like they change everything up. You have to really, really look at this stuff. Because this sounds, then one of them which was a lawyer, asked him a question, that's not there. They've just played real fast and loose with all this stuff, and there's a reason why they're doing it. So I would advise everybody, if you're young enough to learn Greek, and I think you can, you should try. You should try to learn it and really look at this stuff very, very carefully. What did he tell us that Father wanted from us? His words, he speaks the words of the Father. So when Jesus is speaking to us, he's telling us the real words of the Father. And that's the ones we should pay the most attention to. It's like John 13:34, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. This is his primary thing that he came to tell us, is to love one another. John 13:35, by this shall all know that ye are my disciples, if you have love for one another. John 15:12, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I loved you. See, this is my commandment, he's saying. And that's the Father speaking to us. John 15:17, these things I command you, that you love one another. Matthew 11:30, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. He didn't come to weigh us down with a bunch of laws. He came to pay for you, get these people paid and out of that system, and teach them what they were supposed to be doing. We're not all tied to all that mess. We are just to love one another, not judge each other, try to live a good life. And if you love your neighbor as yourself, you're going to be doing a lot different than what I see people doing online. I love you guys. I hope this helps.